What is up? This is Mikhail with Hustle System, where art meets commerce. Today we are in downtown Miami. It's beautiful, and I'm here with a dear friend of mine, Maximilian Berger, aka RSDMax, and we are going to be talking about leadership styles, systems building within your organization, and how to break down and really scale your business in a way that doesn't suck the life out of you, that allows you to live your life, push your life to the next level, but still give credit and support to the team. So you've done some really phenomenal stuff, man, over the last, especially year and a half, is just rocket ship growth. What was the biggest thing that made it click for you? You were like, aha, there's the turbo.
Team. I think many people ask me that too. Do you have any regrets? Like, is there anything you should have done differently? And I'm like, yeah, there's one thing, and I start delegating earlier. I think for the first 3 or 4 years, I was like, I got to do it all. I got to be perfect. I would do like the little micro $10 an hour tasks. I would already have made my first million. I would still sit there and edit the video. I would still sit there and like make the little cuts in the video and the transitions. I still sit there like this guy without a shirt, just like doing things that are not even beneficial for my business. Okay, I was just doing the small little micro things. So I'm like, at some point I started getting a team, and I'm like, wow, these two guys are I would just sit there hustling. I'm like, these two guys are doing the same. When I go to the bathroom and I come back, there's progress made, and then I like, wait, so when I go to sleep, there's also progress made. So if I hire even more people, there's even more progress made. And then, you have certain resistance as well. You say like, oh, you become a cheapsteak, but now I have to pay these guys, right? I don't do it for free, do it myself, but what's the opportunity cost if you do it yourself? It is quote unquote for free, but what could you do in the meanwhile?
Totally.
And then, there's many lessons that are built on top of that. Like, how do you manage a team? How do you motivate them? How do you keep expectations right? How do you hire? How do you fire?
But let's talk about that.
Exactly. I don't want to get too much ahead.
So you've got this morning thing you do with your team that's like, it's super cool, man. So you do that like every day, right? You don't just do it. So
every time.
So tell them about this morning thing that you do. I thought it was so cool. I went and saw your team, and it's like a morning pump up.
Yeah.
Tell the guys how you do it.
So first of all, we're meeting almost every day. Okay, back in the days we met literally every day. Now we're making things a little bit more efficient. And what we do at the end of every meeting, there's a certain structure in the meeting. There's, for example, a specific time within the meeting where we say, okay, does anybody have feedback for somebody else? So now my team members learn to literally compliment each other. They're like, hey, by the way, yesterday I felt really down, and you took over that customer for me. I really appreciate that.
Sick.
Because in the everyday life situations, that just kind of drowns in the daily hustle, and you forget about that. But something as small as that is like, hey bro, thanks for doing that, by the way. Okay, or hey, I just want to say, everybody, yesterday he did an exceptional job with listening, with doing this. It just builds the team. It's incredible because it's not only you giving positive feedback and motivating, but now you teach them to motivate each other. So when I go on vacation with my girlfriend on an exotic island, I know these guys are sitting there motivating each other, which is a great thing. And then like you mentioned before, in the end, after every meeting, we all stick our heads together like a squad, like a unit, like a freaking football team.
Yeah.
And we have this like little battle cry, and we say, who are we? We're an A-player team. What do? We're changing people's lives. And what do we make? Fuck tons of money.
I love
and then we all scream GG, and we clap, and we hug each other, and then we go to the hustle.
Dude, that's super sick. That's amazing. I think like the way that you start the day, like talk about morning rituals, right? The way you start the day is going to define the rest of your day, and really life is just a sequence of these days that you have back to back to back, right? So I think to get your team started off on the right foot is just so mission critical. And the second question would be here, you touched on this, right? This idea that you want to delegate, you want to give off, but often I think one of the biggest things that entrepreneurs struggle with is this idea of like letting go of the wheel. It's like a trust issue. It's like an emotional attachment that we have.
It's your baby, it's your baby that you're building here, and you're giving your baby away.
Right. So how do you let's talk mental like processes yourself that you go through to make yourself more okay with giving your baby away.
Yeah. Like, that should be the title of the video. Be okay with giving your baby away.
Yeah, how to give away your baby.
Yeah, how to give away your baby.
Shocking.
You get a lot of views that have nothing to do with business,
Yes.
right? Like what? Like a lot of like Midwestern white trash people. Like, yeah, my baby. I want to get advice to how to give my baby away.
I was ready to do it.
What is this? This guy talking about business? I want to give my baby away.
This is nonsense.
Where's that baby? Anyway, so I think most importantly is number one, I mentioned it earlier, be aware of the opportunity cost. So if you really sit down on paper and you're saying like, okay, last week, I spent 10 hours editing the frickin' video. What could I have done in those 10 hours? Maybe close a client, maybe talk to a client, maybe build network relationships, maybe start hiring more people. And how much worth is that compared to the little $10 an hour task of editing the video, you know? So be aware of the opportunity cost, really sit down, put it down on paper, and try to give it a numerical value so you can really see, oh, I did waste a lot of money by quote unquote being too good to delegate it, by quote unquote trying to do it all myself. That's one thing. The second thing is prepare yourself in terms of hiring the right people, okay? So I was always scared, like, well, what if that guy does it wrong? Yeah. What if that guy doesn't do it the right way? I'm like, well, then let me hire the best kind of person. I may be really, really slow to hire. Let me have a really strict, really tough hiring process so the people that come through might be very few, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I might be worried that the task will be done wrong, but seeing it how hard this person had to hustle to get the job makes it's just much more it's much less likely for that person to make a mistake now. Yeah. That's number one. Yeah. The other thing is also training. So when the new person comes on board, they probably don't know exactly how that task is done. And what you can do now is you can say, you know what, step aside, I'll do it. Yeah, which is the easy way. Right? Exactly, it's the easy way to do it, but it's very wrong. Or you say, okay, you know what? Let me invest 30% more time, 50% more time to train that person, and then after a month, the person will have developed the skill, will have mastered that task, and yeah, over a month you had to, instead of doing it yourself, you had to invest more time to have that person do it. Yep. But after that month, you're good to go, and it's fully delegated.
That's super sick. I mean, you at this point basically kind of do whatever you want. I don't think completely. I think you do what you want in combination with high ROI things that you enjoy. Yeah. I think those two categories. I think those two categories are actually different, because if you just do what you want all day, it's like, yeah, I want to play video games all day, but like there's got to be a balance there, right? Yeah. You got to have some sort of synergy. So how do you go about saying on that ROI spectrum of I'm not doing this? Because you touched on it as far as the ROI, but for you, right, you mentioned like closing a client as an example of something that you would do potentially yourself in occasion. So at what point do you go, okay, hold on, this type of thing I'm not doing anymore? What are the triggers that you look for other than just monetary return?
That's actually difficult. Never thought about that, but I'm very quick to say that. I train myself to say no right away. So when somebody's like, Max, can you do the thing? I'm like, dude, it's not my concern. Like this is almost like difficult to find a proper word for that. I'm gonna go with arrogance. It's almost like this arrogance, like, bruh, I'm the CEO. Don't come with this little minor task to me. It's like, I'm usually very humble, but with small things like that, when a guy's like, the calendar thing, I'm like, bro, do you come to me for the freaking calendar? Ask someone else. Yeah. I like, and that when I say it in an aggressive tone like that, the aggression is mainly targeted towards me, because I was about to do it. Like, let me help you with the calendar. Whoa, bro, don't come to me with that. Yep. Go to somebody else. And on top of that, I think it's a lot of prevention. It's not like, what do you do when that happens? It's what do you do in order to prevent that from happening in the first place? And that is having clearly structured task management, so you know exactly who's responsible for what task. Because if the lines are blurred, what is the employee, what is the team member going to do? Well, they come to you because you're the boss, right? Like, hey, what do I do with that? But if you say exactly, like, this guy is responsible for the calendar, this person is responsible for management, this person is responsible, if it's very clear, it will not happen. Okay, there's a manatee coming. Can we film that maybe? That's amazing. Film the manatee. There's 3. Manatee. That is absolutely incredible. Okay, so that's the team building lesson, is the manatee come when you have a clear structure, okay?
Yes. And
that's incredible.
When you have abundance.
I
also believe abundance and being present to the moment are also.
I was about to say, I just completely lost it. That was a beautiful moment.
Love it. Okay, so let's keep crushing it. So I think that's great for the entrepreneurs in the audience. Let's for the people that maybe are not familiar with you, can you do a quick little like the Austrian backstory?
Yeah.
Just like 30 seconds, run through it, how you got to where you are, and then maybe relate to people that are struggling, because I think you've done this thing where you've just pushed through, man, on just pure discipline.
Yeah.
And so maybe tell about your story, like some of the things that you found to be core values for yourself, and any tips you could give to people that are starting, that are struggling, they're in the grind, they're trying to find that light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe right now they're not seeing it.
Sure. So when I was 20 years old, I was enrolled in school at the University of Vienna. I was studying Latin and English, about to become a high school teacher. I come from a 5,000 people cow town in the middle of the Austrian Alps. And for me, it was always like, do I want to be free and do whatever the hell I want and travel the world, be surrounded by cool people? Yes. Do I think I deserve it? No, because you live in a small little town and people don't do that. People don't do that.
Yep.
So you move to Vienna, you go to get your little university degree, and then you become a little high school teacher, and you can look forward to the summer months off. And at some point, my why grew so big that I'm like, I don't want to do this. I despise being in an office so much, unless it's my own office.
Yeah.
I despise having to wear a tie, having to act professional, not being able to wear what I want, say what I want. I despise it so much that I'm like, this can't be, you know what? Maybe I don't deserve it, but I despise it so much, then I'm going to work so hard until I figure it out. Until I either figure it out or I die. So what I did first was I started coaching, because coaching, I'm like, one more time. So what I did first was I started coaching, and what I did, I started coaching for dating advice, and it's still my time in exchange for money, right? But I was doing something that I was very passionate about, very excited, and I was literally doing something that I could have done for free. I'm like, you guys, I don't even need to get paid, but I got paid because I got pretty good at it. And then after that, it was only me. It was still like for years, I was coaching, I was putting in the work, I was getting in the money. I was putting in the work, I was getting in the money. And I became very cheap. Okay, we mentioned that before. I would only work with unpaid assistants.
Yep.
And then I said, you know what? No, let me delegate, build. So my time, my money that comes in is not bound to my time anymore. So I can acquire a certain amount of freedom. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, last lesson is always surround yourself with people who are where you want to be, who know more, who make you feel like you're an idiot. Mm-hmm. So-called mentors. Yep. Those are so-called mentors, and only if you have a mentor, you'll be able to scale it up, you'll be able to have an outside perspective, and that really helps you attain that freedom. And now I'm here, you mentioned it before, we're in downtown Miami, it's unreal, there were manatees there. How crazy is that? And the little Austrian boy, okay, the 20-year-old Austrian boy that didn't want to become a high school teacher is still completely blown away by that.
Right? Yeah, I mean, I have similar. I came from Russia, right? So in Russia, It's like save money, like you never know when the government's gonna screw you over. It's just like this really like massive scarcity mentality, and I've had to fight that. Like I still fight it day in, day out, where it's like, no, it's gonna be fine. Like you're gonna push through, we're gonna scale, we're gonna elevate this business and everybody in this business to the next level. And I've become almost like a champion of this idea of having discipline, and that's something that you preach a ton, which I've always looked up to you for, because you're one of the few people that I've met that's like, dude, this guy actually I think works harder than me. How is that possible? Like, how is that possible? I thought I was a beast. And that's like kind of a blank compliment in a way, but it's actually a very genuine compliment, man, because it takes a certain amount of sacrifice to set a goal for yourself and then relentlessly pursue that goal. So as a question for you, for the people watching, one is you mentioned, getting better staff, right?
Yeah.
But one of the traps that people fall into is they don't have the money.
Yeah.
So number one is, how do you go about that? Like, what if you're just trapped in that? What's the first step that somebody can take if they're trapped?
Well, the thing is, like, I think people underestimate the willingness of other people to work for you for free. Mm-hmm. And when I say for free, I'm just talking about the monetary value, because many people would say, look, you don't even have to pay me, just let me give you some value and learn from you in return. Yes. Right? So their payment is learning. So what happened to me is I became so good at what I'm doing that I would have people look up to that and they say, you don't have to pay me, can I at least hang out with you? Can I do the freaking dishes? Can I fold your laundry? I would do that. And then obviously you get certain kind of people in there that are not necessarily qualified enough to do any of those things, as easy as those tasks may sound.
Yep.
But at the same time, like when you say like, oh, I need to delegate things, but I don't have money. People don't necessarily need money at first. If they believe in your vision, there's people who would say, you know what, don't worry about paying me now. Let me help you build this. And then later on you can pay me. They believe in your vision so much that they don't need to be paid just yet. Some people believe in you as a coach, as an expert in your field so much that they say, you know what, I got the summer off, okay, between universities, so can I work there? Can I learn tons of cool stuff? Can you then maybe write me a cool recommendation or anything good for my CV? You don't have to pay me. So don't underestimate that. Why do I say that, by the way? It's because I was that guy. For a whole year, for 12 freaking months, I did not get paid. I was working 18, 19 hours a day, but I was happy because I learned, because I was surrounded by people that were way above me, that were older than me, crushing it, better public speakers, better team players, better everything. And I'm like, I'll do this for free. Just let me crash on the couch. I was sleeping literally on the floor. I didn't even have space on the couch because someone else was crashing on there already. Yep. So it's like the hierarchy was like, I wasn't even the guy crashing on the couch. I was the guy crashing on the floor.
Right next to the couch.
Exactly. Underneath the air conditioning.
Yeah, but they're like wrappers and like crumbs and shit.
Exactly, yeah. That was me. And I was happy. I was a young dude. I was hungry. I was driven. And don't underestimate these young dudes. I was giving tons of great value for the company that I was working for.
Yep. Dude, I love it, man. So, don't just think like money exchange, right? And, I'll do a separate video myself on how to find the right people to hire and how to hire people. I don't think we need to dissect that. I think that's something that there's enough information.
There's a whole extra video we could do on that.
Totally, dude. And there's already a lot of information, and we could break that down more. I mentioned goals. I hinted at goals. I think, let's say you were to go back to the 18-year-old version of yourself, and you were to wipe the slate clean and set a new set of goals at that moment, what would you adjust now for that?
Well, like I said earlier, I would start delegating earlier. I would start systematizing earlier. So I had the hustle part down. Okay, I had this huge why. I was willing to die for it. I was willing to grind it out. But I was developing structure just out of necessity over the years. What I would do now is I would pair that hustle ethic and willingness to go through fire, but I would build structures and systems much earlier.
Okay, how did you set the destination though? Because you said, you're like, look, I've got a destination I want to get to.
Yeah.
Is that something that just came to you, or is that something that you had a moment of awakening, a moment of truth of like, this is worth fighting for?
Yeah, so I had it set to, but it was kind of a blurry vision first. Yeah. And then I did have a moment where I'm like, this is it, that's the thing. So I knew I wanted to travel the world. I wanted to be surrounded by great people, by pretty girls, and I wanted to be free. And in all honesty, I wanted to be able to express myself and have people listen to that. Quite narcissistic goals. Like I'm not here to preach being a whole person, right? But sure. So that was my thing, right? So when I was 16, 17, the translation of that was I want to become a rock star, right? So I had my guitar, I would try to build a band, I wanted to become the next Metallica, right?
Oh yeah.
And then I realized, like, well, there's a lot of things not in my control when it comes to music. You could be the most virtuous guitarist in metal music. You'll not be rich and travel the world simply because it's not the metal music's time right now, Yeah. So there's a lot of things that are outside of control. And then I started coaching, and with the coaching, it was kind of similar. I'm like, oh, so I'm kind of traveling the world already. I was touring, giving seminars. I can express myself. People look up to me. I can help people and in turn be inspired. But at the same time, time was still bound to money was still bound to my time.
Exchange, right?
And I'm like, okay. And then that was the first clear moment where I had one of my friends. I coached him for free just because we were two buddies. I coached him in dating advice, and we were walking actually down in Miami. I was broke. We bought like a $70 flight to Miami from like Washington D.C. And as he's talking to this girl, I remember like, wow, I could do this forever. That was the first epiphany, right? And then I understood, okay, my time is still bound my money's still bound to my time after a year. Then realized, like, okay, if I build systems and hire people, I get that last chink in my armor done, like that last checkbox, like, okay, actually not chink in my armor, I could get that last checkbox checked off where I'm like, okay, now I can be free as well if I delegate that, so that I can travel the world, be surrounded by the right people, influence people, be influenced in turn, and can be free, and the money's still coming in, and I have that financial freedom at my side.
Dude, I love it. I think one of the big things you're getting at is like for the people watching, be more unapologetic about your goal. Okay, and I'm gonna do the explicit version. Be more fucking unapologetic about your fucking goal. Like, and you know, Gary Vee cusses, like,
I can cuss.
Well, we can cuss. Well, and the reality is, I think a lot of people are genuinely afraid. They'll set this goal out, like, I want to travel the world, and they're like, I'm not gonna, like, limiting beliefs, boom, 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 right? They get knocked down. And I think one of the great things that you did is you're like, I'm not gonna apologize for it. I want this.
Yeah.
I want this for me. I'm gonna get it. Nobody's gonna stop me. I'm gonna be completely relentless in my execution. And one of the characteristics that I really admire about you is you have this unique balance of a determination and an egocentric work ethic, but you are still humble enough to take feedback. And this really sticks out, is you're one of the fastest implementers of positive feedback that I've ever seen. It's like, I'll give you an idea, or one of your mentors will give you an idea, like within 5 minutes, you're already doing it. So can you talk a little bit about, you know, how does the ego get in the way for people that you've seen? Like, do you have some examples in your life of people that really treat that work ethic thing well, and then other people that kind of, I call it like driving a Ferrari through the mud, right? It's like you have this great asset, but you're holding yourself back because you're not allowing yourself to free flow, to connect, to take that work ethic and actually set it on the right set of train tracks.
I mean, the ego is such a big thing that prevents us from doing so many things. Like, and I have limited insight into other people's minds, but I can tell you what happens to me whenever my mentors tell me that I'm doing something wrong, whenever my mentors give me feedback. Look, I'm like, I think I'm the shit? Yeah, pretty much. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm doing a lot of things right. Hell yeah, blah, blah, blah. Then my mentors come in and they're like, no, you know nothing. Shut up. This was a dumb idea. How dare you? And I'm like, do you even know who you're talking to? I just spoke to 200 people and I made 200K. They know nothing. And then the ego literally gets aggressive as I'm typing it.
Right.
And then I learned that if I wait 5 minutes with that, I can even type the answer out. I can type it out, I just don't click send, right? So when they coach me over WhatsApp or something, I type it out, I take 5 minutes, I walk around the corner, I finish my set at the gym, I meditate real quick, and I'm like, actually they're right. And I'm like, and I like tuck my tail and I'm like, you guys are right, I'm sorry, like nothing without you. And that's like, that humility is a lot, it's great, it's huge. And it's so helpful, being humble enough to be taking feedback, because I'm like, bro, at the end of the day, what do you want to do? What do I really want to do? Do I want to feel like I'm the shit, or do I want to make money?
Exactly.
Do I want to feel like I'm the best, or do I really want to serve my clients? Which one is it really? Because at the end of the day, I'd rather have the money and help my clients and know that they're doing extremely well, get great feedback, than faking that I'm the shit and putting, tapping my own shoulder.
Absolutely. I just did a post about this. It's called, you can be right or you can be rich.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can be both, but most of the time you got to pick one or the other, and be humble enough to pick one or the other. 100% to take it, all yours. Yeah, you could be right or you can be rich. I think we prevent ourselves, and one of the big tips I think you gave that was really great for younger people, it's like you found something you were good at. It might not have been something you maybe even expected. Like you kind of poked the box and then you realize, wow, I'm really good at this. This is a skill that I have. So my advice for people that are watching is find a skill that allows you to lock in to this forward momentum, something that you can do that feels effortless, and then maximize it over and over and over again until you start to see results, until you start to see performance, until you start to see those things coming to fruition in your life that you want to see. So let's talk for a moment about the team, right? So we talked a little bit about ego. One thing that you've started doing recently that I am actually humbled by is you've started putting your team first, right? You're a leader, I'm a leader, and one of the things that I've noticed that you've actually, I think, done better than me at, and that's a huge compliment, is you've switched your mentality where every time I talk to you about your success, you're like, yes, I'm great, but you know what? It's all about these guys. These guys make it happen. It's all about my team. My team supports me. Can you talk about the right way and the wrong way to approach leadership?
Yeah, I mean, there's a dichotomy behind that, I have to say right away, because, and trust me, I've done I've went the pendulum for me swung into the wrong direction several times, different directions. So in the beginning I was doing too much me, I'm the shit, you're the little intern, you know nothing, haha, you're lucky that you're here, which is obviously a little bit too much on the one side. Then what happened was, and I stayed very long on the complete polar opposite of that, which is, you guys are so amazing, I am nothing without you, oh my god, the way you did the video is so great, and you guys, it's only you making the money, like, my brand means nothing. Now, I mean, at the same time, those salespeople make a lot of money because I built the brand, you know? At the same time, like, this video looks great because of my delivery, you know? So what happens if you're too nice to your employees, if you make them feel like they're too good to be in this position, what happens is they start leaving. They start demanding crazy things. They start demanding like way more money that they should be paid for. And at the end of the day, there's conflict. You're not doing them a favor by being too nice to them, because you're also stunning them in their own growth. So a guy that continuously just reward, and I'm like, you're the best, he's like, maybe I am the best. I'm pretty cool. Am I doing that person a favor? Not so much. It is nice, but at the same time, now they might not grow. Might they not be incentivized to hustle harder on their craft and get better at it, and you know, tuck in those, to get in those little 1% lessons every time, right? So it is a dichotomy, and you have to find a balance. So do I say I'm nothing without my team? Yeah, 100%, because I am nothing without my team.
Definitely.
Okay? But at the same time, do I give constructive criticism? Am I very harsh when they make a mistake? Yes, I keep them to an extremely high level of accountability. Extremely high level. It is uncommon for us to go home when the office hours close. Like, when somebody goes home on time, everybody's like, why are you going home, bro? What about the extra hours?
Yeah.
So you want to instill that, culture within your company, within your team. And on top of that, what helped a lot is if you can instill pride of being in that team, pride of putting in the extra hours and all these things. If you make the team understand that they're doing this for themselves, not for you, not because they're really good at it, but they're doing it for themselves, for their own growth, because they want to be part of something bigger, I just think then you found the sweet spot.
I love it, man. That's super solid advice, and you know, there's a lot of conflicts and tensions that come up, right? One example is you know, the micromanagement versus freedom one. I think we kind of touched on that. Yeah. Another one is the confidence versus humility one. I think we've touched on that one quite a bit. So we can obviously unpack that further and further and further. You know, whether that's confidence versus humility, micromanagement versus freedom. I think we've touched on those a bit, but one very unique paradigm that comes up over and over again in many organizations, including the ones that we're involved with, is this idea of, you know, is your company a team or is it a family? And I think finding a sweet spot, I think what you've done is you found a really solid sweet spot, because on one level, you guys are like the A players, and it's a very much a team dynamic, but you sprinkle in, just like when you're cooking a good meal, you want to have some flavor there. So teams that I've seen that are, you know, too team oriented, it's like you have this really great framework, but there's no spice, there's no energy, there's no fire in the eyes of the people.
Yeah.
And you sprinkle in this flavor of family into the organization. So maybe chat a bit about that, and then we can do some wrap-ups.
100%. And I love that you said, like, it's literally about the sprinkling in, because if you go all bro on them, they're going to be like, hey, bro, I really want to go hang out with this girl for a week. That cool? Yep. And you're like, bro, what the hell? Like, this is one of the most important weeks. Why are you like? And it's like, I thought we're bros, right? Mm-hmm. It's not like they're taking advantage of you. Not necessarily. I don't think it's that. It's more like there's a manatee again. She's just coming up. That's incredible.
Oh,
wow.
Oh my god.
Wow. This literally looks like a mermaid. It's more like it's not that they're taking advantage. It's because you've mismanaged expectations.
Yep.
They're like, I thought we're bros, so I thought I could do it. I don't even see what's wrong with it, right?
Yep.
It's difficult to see it. So you got to sprinkle that in. What I've learned is a small gesture goes a long way.
Yep.
Okay. So for example, when one of my team members is sick, a small message like, "Hey, bro, how are you doing, man?" And you know, many times, because I have a great team, they're like, "I'm doing great. I've been talking to this many clients." I'm like, "No, that's not what I meant. It's not what that. I heard you sick, bro. What's going on?" They're like, "Well, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Hey, what you eating? Do you need me to grab you some lemons?" You know, like, and then I would do that personally.
Yep.
It's not that I've got to go super out of my way. Most of the people that live very close to me.
Sure.
So, but at the same time, like a small gesture like that, they're like, "Okay, he is my boss. He's really tough. He's really fair. But at the same time, he also cares about me on a personal level." But at the same time, I gotta be tough too when I make a mistake. And I have absolutely no problem getting louder or getting angry at them for certain reasons, right? So you can't be too shy of doing that, because at the end of the day, again, they appreciate that because you make expectations very clear.
Yep.
Very clear expectations. And last but not least, what helps a lot as well is I can tell them how we're communicating right now. So when we are sitting together and I know the guy made a mistake, but his body language, his demeanor is kind of bro-ish, I'm like, hey, this is me talking to you right now as a team member. This is not us having a personal conversation, okay? I love you, bro. I respect you. You know that, but from a business perspective, you've just fucked up.
Yep.
And me as the CEO of that, and you as XYZ position, we have to figure this out right now to find a solution so you don't do that again. Otherwise, you can't work with us anymore. You got to be very tough. But again, like, I pre-communicate that. I'm like, this is business talk right now. This has nothing to do with personal.
That's really solid. And I think a lot of people confuse that in that, you know, especially in an organization, as people develop more and more and more, they build rapport with each other. They go out, they have dinners, they become kind of like a little ecosystem of a community. And oftentimes the lines of delegation get blurred. And also you have, you know, patterns of resentment, patterns of tension that come up with people below. And you've done a great job of shutting that down, of going, listen, this is my business. You are in this position in my business. I am allowing you to have this position in my business so that we can win together, so I can help you win in your position, and as a return, I win, and the more that you win, the more I win, and it's a positive feedback loop. And I think a lot of managers actually don't acknowledge that, because there's so much ego involved, like we talked about, right? So let's, you know, to wrap here, what I want to talk about is you have this great new mentoring thing that you've got coming out. So you've done the dating stuff, and it's been phenomenal. What are you doing with this business mentoring stuff? Can you talk a little bit? I think it's just the coolest thing. Are you allowed to talk about it yet?
100%.
Yeah, drop some knowledge, man.
It's very simple. We're taking young entrepreneurs, we help them find their passion and monetize it, so they don't have to live a cubicle life, 9-to-5 boring job, but actually a life full of freedom, self-actualization, and happiness. It's that simple. So we take anybody, even if you don't have any experience in entrepreneurship yet. We help you find your passion. We tell you how to position yourself. We help you how to monetize that, how to create that into a program or product, how to then sell it to your people, how to then serve your clients. And then you can live a life full of freedom. You can travel around, you can do whatever you want. Even if you have a brand, if you have a business already, we'll help you scale that. We'll look at your business structure. We say, this is a mistake, here, do that instead, here, hire that person, here, tell that person to do that. I mean, I've been building brands for a very, very long time. My own brand, brands from my team members, brands from my clients. The funny thing is, the way how I had that idea was I would start having one-on-one clients that would pay a lot of money for my dating program, where they would have access to my phone number. And then they're like, by the way, I only got on board because I want to learn how you build your brand. Yep. I have this business, and I'm like, wait, how's it going with the girls? Oh yeah, don't worry, I'm fine, I'm married. Anyway, how do I scale? And I'm like, okay. So I'm like, okay, I guess there is a need. There is people who would like to learn how to be an entrepreneur, how to be free, how to scale their system, how to build a brand.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I could hammer this all day. This is like the topic of the entire channel here is, you know, escape to 9-to-5. Yeah. If you're stuck in a position, how to leverage yourself on time the money in that position, and then eventually break out. And if you're somebody who's an entrepreneur, how to scale your business, build a brand. I break it down in like 3 steps. It's always, you know, how to get more eyeballs on content, how to turn those eyeballs into dollars, how to keep them coming back again and again and again. And that's not just as, you know, repeat customers, but at raving fans. And if you look at your following, I mean, it's just phenomenal. So what I'd like to do is, you know, for those of you guys that are watching that are interested, Max has done just some crazy stuff. He's influenced me personally. He's helped me phenomenally in my leadership style, in my business and my branding, as well as just being a dear friend. So we're going to include the link down below for you guys to get the mentoring program, you know, ongoing. It's something that I stand by. You know me, I don't endorse too many things. And if I do endorse something, I endorse it from the bottom of my heart. This is something that I personally guarantee will work, because I believe in Max so much and in his team so much, and I've seen them personally doing what they do, and it's just one of the best programs in the world. And
thank you.
Absolutely. And
it's very simple. All you have to do is you click on that link down below. You can pick an exact time slot to jump on a free consulting call with us. We're literally going to look at your situation, looking at your goals. We can see how exactly we'll help you entirely for free. And if you then, you know, want to get professional coaching by us, if you want us to help you along the way to achieve all those goals, we can always do that with the mentoring program. But at the very least, you can click that link, jump on a free call with us, and we'll help you out.
It's super sick. And to wrap here, you know, at the end of the day, right, it's like we die. Like at the end of the day, and then we die,
Yeah.
right? So it's not about cash. It's about this bigger vision. The way I always think of it is, what would the world look like if every single person was able to reach their potential? Like as you walk down the street, all these great inventions,
Wow,
right?
yeah,
Elon
sick.
Musk, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates. What if every single person on Earth was suddenly able to unlock their potential, unleash it, do the things that they're passionate about, and start to make a positive impact and a positive change on the planet? And from my vantage point, that's what this program does. Yeah, it's a business. Yeah, it's a brand, but it unlocks your inner potential, that inner passion that you have for life, that one thing that you can do on this earth with the limited amount of time that you have. It takes it, puts the key in the lock, opens it up for you so you can start to experience a new reality full of abundance, success, growth, and amazing experiences. Max, brother, it's a huge pleasure to have you.
Man. What's epic to talk, man?
Yeah.
It's epic fucking talk.
Thank you so much for coming to Bourbon. GG.
GG.
GG.